Good morning, everybody. Welcome to video classes. I am Sudarshan Reddy, lecturer in physics, Gaud Degree College for Women, Ramagiri, Nalgonda district. Now, I am going to give explanation about superconductivity in my third video lesson. In last class, I explained introduction about superconductivity, that is, what is superconductivity and what are the properties during superconducting transition, which change, which do not change, etc. etc. Now I am going to explain two concepts right now. One is Misner effect and other one is type 1 and type 2 superconductors. Type 1 and type 2 superconductors. Now I am going to explain first topic in today's class, Misner effect. Already we know when certain metals are cooled to sufficient low temperature, then their electric resistance drops suddenly to 0. This is what we learned in the definition of superconductivity, and it was explained by Kamerlingh Onnes. After then, a scientist, his name was Misner, came forward and he studied more about properties of superconducting materials, and further he classified them. So, in addition to this, Misner observed a special property of superconductors when they are placed in external magnetic field. That is, when a superconductor is placed in an external magnetic field and cooled to sufficient low temperature, that is, cooled below transition temperature or critical temperature, he observed that the magnetic flux passing through the superconducting material is expelled out. This is happening during the superconducting transition state. Why this is happening? He did so many experiments. After then, he gave his explanation. So, the physical property, the special property of superconductors, what he observed when they are placed in external magnetic field, was named by himself as Misner effect. Now I am going to give a perfect definition for this. The expulsion of magnetic lines of force from a superconductor when it is cooled below transition temperature or critical temperature is called Misner effect. That means magnetic flux inside the superconductor in superconducting transition state at below transition temperature. That is what he was observed in his experiment. So experimentally we can show this experiment, diagrammatically. Now I am going to show the difference before superconducting state, means below superconducting state, and above superconducting state. That means below transition temperature and above transition temperature. See, observe the normal state. Circle in the diagram is a superconductor. It is at a high temperature than critical temperature, transition temperature. Now we will see the magnetic lines of force are passing through the circle. That means passing through the superconducting material. Superconductor in normal state, whereas in second figure, here the temperature is below the critical temperature. Now observe the magnetic lines of force. They are expelled out from the circle. That means expelled from the superconducting substance. So that means in superconducting state, magnetic lines of force passing through the superconductor is 0, and whereas in normal state, maximum number of magnetic lines of force are passing through, penetrating through the superconductor. So that's why we can say a superconductor in superconducting state, means below transition temperature, is a perfect diamagnetic substance. That means it is perfect diamagnetic in nature. This is what Misner observed. So this is about a Misner effect. That means according to him, below critical temperature, superconducting material is diamagnetic, and above superconducting material, above critical temperature, it is not diamagnetic in nature. So this is what Misner observed. Let us prove ourselves whether it is true or not with the help of mathematical relations. So here in superconducting state, below critical temperature, the electrical resistance of superconductor is 0. That is what we know up to now. So by taking electrical resistance below critical temperature as 0, let us prove whether the superconducting material below critical temperature is diamagnetic or not. To prove it as diamagnetic, what to do? What we have to prove? Then it confirms that the diamagnetic material is, the superconducting material is diamagnetic in nature. We know susceptibility for diamagnetic substances. Susceptibility of diamagnetic substances is negative and less than 0. That means it is about -1. So if we prove susceptibility of superconducting material below transition state is equals to -1, then it will be confirmed as diamagnetic in nature. So let us see the derivation part. Right, we have a relation. Magnetic induction in a conductor is given by equation number 1, that is B is equal mu naught into H plus I. Here H is magnetic field intensity, mu naught is permeability, and I is intensity of magnetization. Let it be equation number 1. This is equation we will see in electromagnetism chapter and in electromagnetism paper. Next, we know that for a superconductor, in superconducting state, B is equal 0, means magnetic flux is entirely expelled out, so that we can take B is equal 0. Now submit the value in equation 1. Then equation 1 becomes mu naught into H plus I is equal 0. From that H plus I is equal 0. From that you can write by sending H to LHS side, it becomes negative, I is equal minus H. This is equation number 2. The susceptibility of superconductor or any magnetic material is defined as the ratio of intensity of magnetization and magnetic field induction. Magnetic field strength, that is ratio between I and H. From that we can write chi is equal to, chi is a letter used to represent susceptibility of magnetic substance. So chi is equal to I by H. Now from equation number 2 we can substitute the value of I as minus H in the numerator. So from that we will get minus 1 is the value of chi for superconducting material. Chi is equal to minus 1. So for a diamagnetic material, already we know the magnetic susceptibility is negative. So here we get negative value for this. This confirms that the the superconductor in superconducting state below critical temperature or transition temperature, diamagnetic in nature. But it is not enough to prove that the superconducting material below transition temperature is a perfect diamagnetism. We need another. Why don't you select another process? Why we took here this one? Let us go for another process. Let us take Ohm's law. It is V is equal to IR, and we know the relationship between electric field, potential and length of the conductor, that is E is equal to V by D. From the two equations we can write E is equal to IR by D. From that what we can write JAR by D. Here I wrote JA. I submitted JA in the place of I. How it came? So here J is current density. It is defined as current per unit area. J is equal to I by A. From that I is equal to, we can write J into A. That is what I submitted in the expression JAR by D. So AR by D into J. I wrote AR by D in bracket. So here I wrote rho in the place of AR by D. Why? Here rho is charge density. Here I expressed that resistivity. I expressed that as RA by D. See, we know resistance of a conductor is directly proportional to length and inversely proportional to area of cross section. So from the two we can write R proportional to D by A. So by removing proportionality symbol you can write R is equal to rho D by A. From that we can write rho is equal to RA by D. Here rho is specific resistance, or we can call it as resistivity. Thus we can replace the bracket with rho. That is equation number 3. Let us consider a special case for finite current density and zero resistivity. What will happen? E is equal to 0. The equation number 3 becomes 0. E is equal to 0. We know Maxwell equation. Del cross E is equal to minus dou B by dou T. Here submit the value of E in this expression. Then we will get dou B by dou T is equal to 0. From this we can write B is equal to constant. That means magnetic flux or magnetic induction inside the superconducting material in superconducting transition is not zero, not changing, and not equals to 0. It remains constant. So it is contradiction for Misner effect. So according to Misner effect, there should be no magnetic flux or magnetic flux density inside the superconducting material. But from this expression, we can say that there is constant magnetic flux passing through the superconducting material. So here from this we can say that there is controversy about these two concepts. So finally, that means during superconducting transition below critical temperature, magnetic flux inside the superconducting material is equals to 0 according to Misner effect. That means already there is magnetic flux inside the superconducting material. When it is cooled to below critical temperature, transition temperature, the magnetic lines of force are expelled out. That means in our language we can say the superconducting state, the magnetism property undergoes demagnetization. Here the cooling effect, removing magnetic property from the superconducting material. From this we can confirm that superconductivity is not only strong diamagnetism but also a new type of demagnetization. There are different demagnetization process: heating, rubbing, applying magnetic field in opposite direction. These are all demagnetization process up to what we know. But in the superconducting transition state below transition temperature, here magnetic property is removing from the superconducting material, so that we can call it as a special type of demagnetization. This is about a Misner effect. Now I am coming to explain type 1, type 2 superconductors. This type 1, type 2 superconductors are classified into two types based on Misner effect, or indirectly we can say based on their magnetic behavior. So they are soft superconductors, hard superconductors. Type 1 superconductors are called as soft superconductors, and type 2 superconductors are called as hard superconductors. How to define them? The superconductors which strictly follow Meissner effect are called as type 1 superconductors or soft superconductors, and the superconductors which do not follow Meissner effect strictly. Once again I am saying, the superconductors which do not follow Meissner effect strictly are known as type 2 superconductors or odd superconductors. They may follow, type 2 superconductors may follow Meissner effect, but throughout its state they may follow or they may not be follow. Sometimes they may both mixture of Meissner effect and normal state, I mean superconducting state and non-superconducting state may be appear to us. That's why these are hard in nature. Because of this nature of type 2 superconductors, they are used in reactors and high field magnets, etc., etc. So now I am going to explain what are type 1 and what are type 2 superconductors with the help of figures. Here I gave definition, a little bit information about type 1 and type 2 superconductors. See the lines in black color. Superconductors are classified into two types based on their magnetic behavior. They are type 1 superconductors or soft superconductors, and second one, type 2 superconductors or hard superconductors. Now I am coming to type 1 superconductors. Already we know what are type 1 superconductors. Here is magnetization curve for a superconducting material, I mean a superconductor, type 1 superconductor. See, on x-axis, horizontal axis, external field is taken and magnetization is taken on y-axis, means vertical direction. Below critical field strength Hc, the material is the superconductor follow Meissner effect. That means there is no magnetic flux inside it. That means magnetic flux inside it B is equal to 0. Suddenly falls to 0. And after Hc, when field strength greater than critical field strength, it is converted, the superconducting state is converted to normal state. This is what we observe in the case of type 1 superconductors. So from the diagram we can understand the following things. First, at the top of the page there is definition, and next what I explained about the diagram is given in next paragraph. That is, in the above magnetization curve of type 1 superconductor, it is shown that the magnetization of type 1 superconductor as the function of external field. From the graph, type 1 superconductor is in superconducting state below critical field strength, and the superconducting state is converted to normal state as external field strength exceeds Hc. So that we can say that the type 1 superconductors follow Meissner effect below critical temperature or transition temperature. For this type 1 superconductors, examples are aluminum and lead, etc. This is about type 1 type superconductors. Now I am going to explain about type 2 superconductors. already we know the definition. So now I am directly coming to the diagram. Here type 2 superconductors or hard superconductors are characterized by two critical field strengths, Hc1 and Hc2. This is shown on the diagram. So from the diagram we can understand look at on the diagram. Below Hc1 means first critical field strength. We can call it as lower field strength. Below lower field strength, the superconductor follow Misner effect. That means magnetic flux inside it is zero. Beyond Hc1 means as field strength exceeds Hc1, gradually the magnetic flux penetrating through the superconducting material increases, and finally it reaches maximum value at another critical field strength. We call it as higher limit of or higher critical field strength. So between Hc1 and Hc2 there is decrease in magnetic flux, increase in magnetic flux and decrease in superconducting transition. Superconducting transition disappears. That means in between the limits Hc1 and Hc2 we can observe both superconducting transition and a non-conducting transition. So that's why we can call it as vortex state. Why? Because it is mixture of superconducting and non-superconducting transitions. So from this we can say that type 2 superconductors are most useful in making high field magnets for particle accelerators and in reactors. So example for this alloys, for example lead and bismuth alloy is a better example for type 2 superconductors. This is about a type 1 and type 2 superconductors. Type 1 and type 2 superconductors are defined and their behavior is explained with the help of magnetization curve. And why type 2 superconductors are hard in nature is also explained from the diagram, and why they are used in making high field strength magnets and fusion reactors, etc. etc. This is about today's class.